There's pastors' kids, but there's no one really talks about like the worship leaders' kids.
Yeah.
And so I was one of those, but that actually had no influence on me doing that today.
Come on.
But I was just really used to that. And but there were like I got scans and every test you can think of and still couldn't figure it out. And this went on for 6 years. And finally when I was 17, I had a surgery, and so they went in to like go and look what was going on. Like I literally had reached a brick wall and there was nowhere else to go. And so it was like maybe a few weeks that I did this where I was like no phone, like no movies, no YouTube, no social media, nothing that I was distracting myself with before. I was like, I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
I sought the Lord. I'm like on my bedroom floor crying, worshiping, praying, and I was like, I don't even know the words to pray, but I just kept seeking him and praying for healing. And I was like, God, even if you just heal me a little bit to where I can go and do something or have some purpose to my life. Not that I didn't have purpose, but when you don't do anything else except like be sick, you just feel like there's just nothing to your life. And you know, the devil wants us to be stuck in a spot where we don't have faith. And like having faith is, even if you don't see something, keep praying about it. Don't just give up. I mean, think about like Job. Devil's like, I'm gonna cause hell for you, dude.
Okay.
And God's like, fine. But God always uses it for good.
Yes.
And even if we don't see something happening right now, it doesn't mean that the prayer isn't going to be answered.
It's just me and the Lord. Nowadays I barely pray with my eyes closed. Don't want to miss a second of this blessing. I tightrope. If sky is the limit I fly towards, then how far should I reach? Hit the mission survival. I sing a song to carry God wherever I go. This aphorism is an affirmation for high hopes. So wine toast to the Most High.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Worship Afterisms. As I always say, listen, if you have started this episode, y'all, and you have not seen the rest of the season, you are completely missing out. I don't, what are you doing? I love God. You don't love God? What's wrong with you? All right, I'm just telling you, listen, all our leaders have come on here and done something incredibly blessed for our community. They've given you hacks. And if you've missed all the people before this episode, I'm telling you, watch this episode through. You're going to be blessed today. But then make sure that you tap the next episode and just kind of binge. Because why not? There's so much wisdom and there's so many leaders to know and so much things that they've given us. But today, I'm so excited about the guest that I have on our podcast. She is absolutely amazing. She's dope. And I would argue to say, y'all, she is the blackest white woman I know.
Oh my God.
In Kansas City. Kansas City. That's right.
I was not expecting
That's right. That's
As
right.
like the lights are shining on me, I'm like literally reflecting off of it.
Listen, I say that because the sound that comes out of her is just different, y'all. Man, I'm gonna give you guys like our background. So the first time I met Naunie, we were actually in a like, I feel like it was like a church revival for youth, kind of young adult movement down in the basement. You've seen a couple people who I've introduced to you also that were a part of this community. It's called Belong Community. But at the time we were like all in a basement, and I mean basement where we was arm to arm, breathing all over each other.
Someone wasn't wearing deodorant, you knew it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, if somebody had let off a fart in that place, we would have cleared the room.
Yeah, and that was the place to do it because no one would know.
No one cared.
So.
No one cared.
There's a million of us in here.
No one cared. It was good. But it was a great time, y'all. But then as I've gotten to know Naunie and experience her ministry and what she's done and how she's used her gift to just touch people, man, and including myself. Like, we have a mutual friend that she sang at their wedding, and I was in tears the whole time because the way that she just brings the presence of the Lord is incredible. But I'm so excited to jump in and introduce you to her. We have Naunie today. Would you say hello to our community, Naunie?
Hi.
Hey.
I'm Naunie.
Hey. Well, I'm super glad to have you today. Will you introduce yourself to the community and tell us what your worship story is?
Yeah. So I'm Naunie, and well, I started just playing guitar when I was 10, and I actually grew up with a mom who was and still is a worship leader.
Come on.
So I was like around that all the time, and there's pastors' kids, but there's no one really talks about like the worship leaders' kids. Yeah. And so I was one of those, but that actually had no influence on me doing that today.
Come on.
But I was just really used to that, and so I started playing guitar, and I actually love to tell people like the Holy Spirit taught me to play guitar, because it was just one day I had this thought, this voice that was like, hey, you should play guitar. And so I asked my dad. I thought my dad knew everything, because you just think that's okay.
Yeah,
and
you're superior.
I was like, can you teach me how to play guitar? And he's like, I don't know how to play guitar. And so I had this little pink rinkety dinky dinky guitar that I got for like $30 in like Arkansas antique shop. And so I just started playing on that. He's like, just keep practicing and just see like, where it goes. Yeah. And I picked it up so quickly. And crazy. I went on YouTube. I just typed in like, here I am to worship, all those old worship
all the classics.
songs. And I just started like copying what they were doing. And I pulled up chord charts on Google and was just copying it. And I really liked Taylor Swift at the time when she was like a country singer. Yeah. So I was playing that. And I just picked it up really quickly. And then one night I was at church. It was kind of like a Wednesday night, like girls class. Okay. Like you have like those Wednesday night services, and there's like the boys and the girls. And so I was in class one night, and I told them, I started playing guitar. And she's like, you should bring it. And we could do worship. And I was like,
what?
Okay. So I was so nervous, and they like wanted me to lead worship, and I'm like, oh yeah, I don't do that. Like, I just want to play guitar. Yeah. If that, like, I was so nervous. And so I asked my mom, I was like, can you come with me and do it?
Come on. So
I drug my mom into there, and we just started leading worship. And at the same time, because I didn't want people to focus on me. I felt so uncomfortable with like hearing my voice in front of everybody. So if she sang with me, it was like both of us.
Come on.
So that was my first worship experience. And then the kids pastor at the church, he heard that I was playing and singing. And then they asked me to play in the kids worship team. Okay. Like on Sunday mornings. And this is like a worship team of just all grown men. Could be my dad. Yeah. And so they took me in as like this little 10-year-old, and they were so sweet, and they just taught me so many things. And so I started doing that, but I was so nervous. I did not want my guitar, I didn't have an acoustic electric, so you couldn't plug it in. And they're like, we're going to mic your guitar. And I was like, no.
Don't do that.
I did not want to be heard. I was so scared. So he's like, okay, well, let's just play and just see how you feel. Yeah. And then they slowly, over time, would mic it. And then I eventually got a guitar that you could plug in. And he's like, yeah, we're going to plug your guitar in today. And I was like, no, we're not. No, don't do that. I'm so scared. Dude, I was so scared. And then eventually they wanted me to sing like background vocals. And I'd always sang as a little girl. Yeah. I was like the kid on the playground that would... This is gonna make me sound like this is gonna sound sad, but like I was kind of by myself, and I'd be like singing to myself. Yeah, like I would make up songs.
You're not the only one, I promise.
Yeah, I sound like a total loser, But and I would just like write songs in my head and sing them out loud, and I had no interest in playing or running around. And so then I was like, okay, I'll do the background vocals, I'll sing. And I was just terrified. I did not want anybody to hear me. And then eventually, like, the youth worship leader heard me, like, when I was of age to be in youth.
Yeah.
Asked me to be on the youth worship team. And they wanted me to play guitar and do background vocals. And I was like, okay with that. But then our main worship leader of the youth worship team had to go to college. And they're like,
it's you.
You're up. And I was like, no, I'm not.
We've been grooming
you
for
literally,
this.
yeah, I felt like I was being set up. And but it was like God, he was setting me up in all these different ways.
Yeah.
Because what I learned is he doesn't really just push you into something.
Unless you're ready.
But it was like I wouldn't have been ready at all. So it was these little things since I was younger that he was setting me up for. And what I didn't realize is I was ready. Yeah. But they're like, can you sing? Can you lead? And I'm like, no, sorry. I don't do that. But I'm not kidding. I was in my bathroom one night and I'm like 12 years old. Come on. And I had never heard the voice of God so clearly. Borderline, like, was this audible? Like, I'm like, did I just hear, Yeah. And he goes, I want you to sing. That was it. And I remember I broke down in tears. I'm like on the toilet. I'm like, oh my gosh, Lord. Oh,
on the toilet weeping for the Lord is crazy. That is a testimony. He will meet you anywhere.
That's my next song, called On the Toilet. People are like shutting off the video now. But no, seriously, I was called into ministry on the toilet.
But that's so good, though.
I mean, there's no other distraction. You're just chilling. Yeah. So I heard him say that, and so I eventually did. And I was like, okay, fine. And again, I said, Mom, can you sing with me? Yeah. So I had my mom do it again. She was always there for me.
And I love that she was so involved in that.
Yeah. And it was nice that having her there, it took kind of this pressure off of me because you feel like everyone's staring at you. And like, they see you up there. And they're like, oh, someone's up there that hasn't usually been leading. And so, like, I get that. But I didn't like that. And I still don't like that. Yeah. But she went up there and we sang. And it was like after that night, I was like, oh, this isn't that bad. Yeah. Because that's when you're scared of something, you're more scared of like the thought of it. Mm-hmm. But then once you have to just get over it. You just have to do it, and then once you do it, you're like, oh, that actually wasn't that bad. Yeah. And then I just kept leading ever since, and then I was asked to be on the like Sunday morning worship team for the big church, and but I wasn't like leading, and then eventually I was, because some people would leave or they would want me to sing with them, and so that was just how that started, and I've been doing it ever since. But yeah, I had no intention of like leading worship. I just wanted to play my little guitar and hide behind it. And now I'm like, oh, dude, put the guitar down. Like, I feel like I just can't lead with the energy, like that. I feel like I'm just like behind this guitar. I can't like physically move like I want to.
Let's pause, because that's so good. That's good. I don't even know if you understand, because the next question I was going to ask you is, do you feel the same way as you, like now in this season, now that you're older, do you still have moments where you're kind of like, I don't want to, Lord? But I think what you just said was so good, because like, I no longer want to hide behind something. That's really good.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just behind the guitar for the longest time, and I was really shy, like so shy. I was so shy growing up, and I'm still like shy and introverted. You wouldn't really know it. Like if I'm comfortable around somebody that I've known, like you or something, then I'm not that way. Yeah. But I'm not one to be like, hey guys, or I just feel weird about it. I don't know. But it's just my personality. Yeah. And so I was just behind the guitar for the longest time, and I remember my mom telling me, she's like, Naunie, you got to get out behind that guitar. But she never pushed me. Yeah. And some people would try to like push me like a mean way, but they would try to encourage me, and I wasn't ready yet.
Yeah.
I wasn't maybe ready to do certain things, and there was one time I felt so overwhelmed that I was like, I don't want to sing ever again. And I had this whole like crash out during practice, and I didn't mean it, but I just wasn't ready.
Yeah.
But then eventually there was some instance where I didn't have my guitar.
Yeah.
And you kind of just have to, you're like almost like a different person. And I was like, what do I do with my arms? Like,
yeah.
But now I'm like, oh man, dude, I love just not having to be behind it and worship, because I'm very like charismatic when I worship. I can't just stand still, and everyone has different ways how they worship, like physically and how they move. But then when I'm behind it, I'm like, you know.
yeah.
So, but yeah, I prefer to not be behind it, but I will be.
I feel that. That's actually surprising for me, because I think most of the time that I've seen you lead worship, with the exception of like affirmations, you have been behind a guitar, right? But I also can see the difference of like expression and less restriction.
I'm like, I want to be jumping around.
Yeah.
Everyone's having fun. Like, I'm having fun too, but like, I'm trying to like smash this thing, dude.
Yes.
I don't know. Do something crazy.
Yeah.
But
I feel that. That's so funny. Well, I want to lean in to more of your story, but before we get there, I did have a question that I'm recalling now. You said we talk about pastors' kids, but we never talk about like worship pastors' kids. Do you feel like there's a difference now? Like, I know you've met pastors' kids, like me being a pastor kid. You feel like there's a difference between the two? Like the upbringing, is it more relaxed? Do you feel like the same pressure is there, you know?
I feel like there's not as much pressure. Like with pastors' kids, like I didn't even know you were a pastor's kid.
Yes. Both parents, yeah.
Yeah. That's really cool.
Yeah.
But I feel like it is different, because like my mom, she wasn't like a pastor. But I think I was just always at church, and like Wednesday night youth service would get over. I'm like, oh, I can't wait to go home, and I'm like, I can't go home. My mom has practice. So I'm sitting there like in the church gym, doing homework, falling asleep, or like we'd have to get to church early because mom has to be there early for sound check. She's on stage. She's like, can you bring me a cup of water?
Yeah.
You know, stuff like that. I'm like, so you're assistant at this point. But no, I don't think that there's as much pressure as being a pastor's kid, because being a pastor is like, you like represent the church. And like even as a worship leader, you represent the church as well.
Yeah.
But that's a whole other role.
Yeah.
But I was still there a lot, and everyone, like, you know, people would know my mom. And like, oh my gosh, you're Tanya's daughter. And I'm like, I don't even know you. And but I'm like,
who are you? Yeah. No, I agree. I think growing up, being a pastor's kid, and then also having the kid, because we become friends. I mean, like even now, like you become friends, right? I felt like there was like, no, you're pastor's child, but then you see like the worship pastors' kids, and they're like very free spirited, get to do what they want and running around. But we're still all there like the same amount of time or whatever. But they just get to they're roaming. Yeah. I was just curious. I was curious to see what your perspective was on that. I want to jump into your story. A lot of people who are in our community, when they look you up, they'll see some things from the past if they deep dive on you. But I want the opportunity to hear your story from your perspective, and what happened, what went down, and like just tell us, share with us your testimony and what God has kind of brought you through.
Well, so when I was 11 years old, I just started middle school, and I started experiencing really bad abdominal pain. And it started like, it wasn't every day, but it just started, and then it slowly turned into like, it was happening more often, and couldn't figure it out. I'm missing school. So I started going to all these doctors, and you know, they're putting you on just medication. You know, and that's like what they know how to do is just put you on so much medication and try this and that. But it was never like, hey, let's get to the bottom of this.
Yeah.
But there were, like, I got scans and every test you can think of and still couldn't figure it out. And this went on for 6 years. And finally, when I was 17, I had a surgery. And so they went in to, like, go and look what was going on. And they had figured out I had this disease that was growing in my abdomen. It was, like, spreading. And it kind of, they describe it almost like cobwebs. And it's like, it shouldn't be there, obviously. But it was, like, pulling my colon out of place. It was on all my organs. And so they had put me on this one. I tried everything, every pill, every single thing you could think of. I was so desperate for relief that they put me on, kind of like a last resort, was this medication that was actually for prostate cancer patients.
Interesting.
But they found that women who have this disease, it actually can, like, slow it down from spreading. It doesn't get rid of it, but it can slow it down. Now, they can go in there in surgery and, like, kind of burn it off. Yeah. And that's, like, what they did. But it can grow back, and it doesn't mean that it's never going to grow back. And so I was just so desperate. I'm, like, 17. I'm like, do whatever you got to do. Yeah. And so I did this medication, but the medication puts you through menopause if you're a woman. So it, like, shuts everything down. So I'm 17, going through menopause. My friends are, like, figuring out where they want to go to college, what they want to do with their life. And at this point, I had to literally, like, not drop out of high school, but I stopped going in person. So I'm homebound. I got a medical release form from my doctor because I was never showing up to school. I was always sick. I'm always having surgeries. I'm always in pain. I'm having to leave early. Couldn't do anything. And so I was just doing school from home, and it really did help me. Like, my grades got better. I had a teacher who would come and bring me my schoolwork. And so I'm sitting there and I'm like, do you want a muffin or something? You know, and so it did help, but I just wasn't living the typical, like, teenage life, really. Honestly, from age 11 to that point, I just hadn't. I was always like, I'm always in pain. Everyone else gets to kind of do what they want. And I had this, like, fear of missing out. So I would push myself to go do things. But, like, I just wouldn't be feeling good. But I really just didn't want to miss out. So, but after I was on this medication, it was like 6 months in, and it wasn't giving me any relief. It was just making things worse. My pain was getting worse. And it got to the point where, like, I would be driving and I would have to pull over because I was having, like, if I could describe what labor contractions feel like, I don't know what was going on. Yeah. I'd be, like, having a conversation like this and I had to be like, jeez. And it was just so embarrassing, but I could feel it coming on, and it would last for, like, a minute. Yeah. And it'd be the most intense pain I could ever think of. And then it would kind of fade away. And this would just happen random times out of the day, on top of the pain I already feel. And then one day I was eating, and I started having pain, like, as soon as I ate. Jeez. And it started, like, subtly, but it was noticeable. Yeah. And then it became worse really quickly. And I was telling my mom, I'm like, it's hurting when I eat. And so I just kept going to the doctor, trying to figure out what was going on. And it got to a point where it was like, I was afraid to eat because it was hurting so bad. Yeah. And so I went to the doctor, and they did a gastric emptying scan where you eat, like, radioactive eggs. Yeah. And crazy. They see how long food stays in your stomach and see how long your stomach takes to empty. And mine was not emptying. So food was just sitting in there, and your stomach contracts, and that's how it pushes food through. Mine wasn't.
Yikes.
So the doctor's like, your stomach is paralyzed. And I've never seen it this bad. And I was like, okay. And so, again, there's medications. And I'm just like, I'm so tired of these medications. They're making me feel weird. But it's like, I don't know what else to do.
Yeah.
And so while I'm trying to figure this out, then all of a sudden I'm having seizures. My heart rate is like 175 just going up the stairs. And I'm having even more pain. And it was like all of a sudden just all these symptoms I'm having. I mean, they're diagnosing me with something new every single week. And it was after I started this medication. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And even after I stopped it. And so I eventually got to a point where, like, I'm losing weight because I'm either throwing up or I'm so afraid to eat. And I almost like trained myself to like be okay with not eating.
Yeah.
And even if I was, because I would be hungry.
Yeah.
But I was so scared of eating because it would just hurt. And so eventually the doctors talked about getting a feeding tube temporarily.
Yeah.
To like allow me to have nutrients without it like causing pain.
Yeah.
So I got a feeding tube and that was crazy. And it like, oh my gosh, I just remember waking up because they put me under for it. And I just remember waking up and like my nostril hurt so bad and it goes down your throat. And at least, like, I had an NJ, so it just went through my nose. And you have to, like, I was like, this hurts so bad. And she's like, you have to build a callus in your throat so that eventually you won't feel it. I was like, I have calluses on my fingers from guitar. I didn't know you had to build one in your throat. So it felt like the worst sore throat for a really long time. And my nose, and then I'd go out in public and, you know, people would stare.
Yeah.
And I understood, like, they're curious or they see you and you're like, oh, and especially little kids.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Like, but I just kind of was opened up to this whole new world of what that was like. And so I would have a home health nurse that would come over and help me. Yeah. And my veins were actually so overused from all of the IVs that I had that I had so much scar tissue that they stopped working. And they're like, we need to put a port in. And so they put a port right here in my chest and it kind of acts like an IV, but it goes to your heart. And so they can, like, if they need to give you medicine or infusion or whatever, they stick a needle in your chest and they put this like bandage over it and it stays there. And so they can easily just administer medication. And it was helpful because I didn't have to be poked and stuff in my arms, but like I had this needle in my chest all the time. Yeah. And the nurse is like, you can poke yourself. Like, I'll teach you. I was like, I'm good. Like, I'm terrified. But I did have to like pull it out myself. Yeah. And there were times when she'd come over and give me an IV in my arm and I would have to learn how to pull it out myself. And I was hooked up to like IV poles in my room because I was getting not only like the feeding tube formula, but also I was hooked up to an IV like through my chest. Yeah. And so my room looked like a hospital. Jeez. And I think one of the worst parts was I'd be sleeping and all of a sudden I'd wake up with just this beeping in my room because the feeding tube, part of it that connected to it, like would pop off. And so I'd be like drenched in formula and I'd wait. I mean, every single night it happened like that. So I'd have to buy these like things to put on my bed, like these hospital pad things to catch the formula. And it was just a whole mess. And like, even if I hear that sound to this day, I'm like, oh my gosh,
no.
like, oh my gosh, PTSD.
I don't want it.
But so it was a whole thing. And at the same time, I'm like leading worship during that time. And that was the only thing I had like going for me, or the only thing I could do. honestly. And so I just really pushed myself. And then my port would get infected. I got a blood infection. They're like, yeah, you could have died. So I'm like in the hospital and all this stuff. And I mean, I had like a million surgeries and I'm in pain and my feeding tube hurts. And eventually they put the feeding tube, they placed it surgically in my stomach. And so that was like a different procedure.
Yeah.
And so that happened and it like never healed. Like it was just always in pain. And I mean, at that point, like I was done, obviously being sick and in pain for a long time, but it got to a point where I couldn't wear pants because it came up right where the feeding tube was at. It's like leaking and it's like I'm like bleeding through it. Yeah. And so I had to bring like a Tide stick wherever I went and put it on my shirt. Yeah. And put things to put like a barrier between my pants and the tube. And things are getting infected. I'm going to go to the hospital again. And there was one night, it was New Year's Eve, and I really wanted to go to just like this New Year's Eve like get together party type thing. Yeah. And you might have been there. I don't know. We were at Summer's house.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah. There was like a million people there. Yeah. I don't know. But I had a fever and I had like a blood infection. I didn't know it.
Jeez.
I did not feel good. Like my bones hurt, but I wanted to go so bad. So I went. And I was like, yes, 2023, here we are. Or I think it was like 2021, actually. Yeah. But, so I just didn't want to miss out, but I was just so sick. And I'd be 8 out of 10 pain. Jeez. And I'd be like, yeah, I'm great. How are you? And jeez. So tense. But, so I got to a point where I couldn't go anywhere. I couldn't even go to church. And Belong was doing this, like, fast. Yeah. As a church, and people were fasting for different things. Yeah. And just seeking the Lord during that time. I never fasted like from food or really fasted at all. Yeah. And I decided I'm going to fast and I'm really truly going to seek the Lord on this and press in. And I'm going to fast for healing. Yeah. And for like a job. Yeah. Because I kind of just felt like low self-esteem because I felt like I didn't have anything else going for me. I wasn't doing anything. Yeah. And people understood and like I should have given myself more grace, but I feel like I should be doing something. I just felt kind of just lame being sick and at home. And yeah, I threw up today and I like took a shower. How was work? Yeah. And it was hard relating to people. I would almost have like this social anxiety talking to people because I couldn't relate. The only thing I could talk about that was going on with me was just that. And so I didn't fast from food, but I fasted from being on my phone, watching TV. To be honest, that's what I did a lot. Yeah. And that was one thing I regretted, was not really diving into the Word as much or being with the Lord as much as I should have. But I just numbed myself a lot. And I just lived life full of just trying to distract myself. Yeah. And
understandably so. Yeah.
I was like, God, I'm done doing that. Yeah. I'm going to press in and I'm really going to seek you and try to really press in and do something about this. And ask for healing. I mean, there's nothing else I could have done. I felt like I literally had reached a brick wall and there was nowhere else to go. And so it was like maybe a few weeks that I did this where I was like, no phone, like no movies, no YouTube, no social media, nothing that I was distracting myself with before. I was like, I'm not doing it. Yeah. I sought the Lord. I'm like on my bedroom floor, crying, worshiping, praying. And I was like, I don't even know the words to pray, but I just kept seeking him and praying for healing. And I was like, God, even if you just heal me a little bit to where I can go and do something or have some like purpose to my life. Not that I didn't have purpose, but when you don't do anything else except like be sick, you just feel like there's just nothing to your life. And I was at a point, I told my mom, I was like, I don't want to die, but I also don't want to be alive either.
Yeah.
And I was never suicidal, never have been, but I was at that point where there was nothing else I could do. I couldn't trust any of the doctors at this point.
Yeah.
So I said, Lord, all I can do is trust you. You are my last hope.
Yeah.
God. And I was like, I just surrender everything to you. And not only was I praying for healing, but he also revealed there was things in me that he wanted, like he convicted me of a lot of things.
Yeah.
That I was dealing with and that I was struggling with, and things that I was doing or I wasn't doing that I didn't realize.
Yeah.
And things I was struggling with, like even pride, and not in the pride of, oh, I think I'm all this, but pride that was rooted in insecurity.
Yeah.
And worrying about what people thought about me, and which would manifest like during worship.
Yeah.
And so many things like unforgiveness toward people who really hurt me, and just this anger that I was carrying around for a long time, and things like that I would have not really realized that I was carrying all these things.
Yeah.
And so during that time, I'm just repenting of everything, and you have to be so vulnerable.
Yeah.
You have to really be like, yep, God, I'm dealing with this, I'm doing this, I'm thinking this. And one night, I felt like the Holy Spirit was saying, just take the feeding tube out, and I'll heal you. And I just felt this overwhelming peace. I mean, I was like, I don't want this thing anyway.
Yeah.
But also, I'm not really eating.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to take it out, and I'm going to trust him that he's going to heal me, and that this, like, what else could happen?
Yeah.
He sees what I'm doing. He sees that I'm trusting him. He's not going to be like, oh gosh, she's taking it out. What is she going to do? What's going to happen?
Yeah.
He wanted me to take it out and trust him.
Yeah.
And stop trusting everybody else.
Yeah.
And so I remember I told my parents, I was like, I believe God wants to heal me, and he's telling me to take this tube out. And they were fully supportive. They're like, if you feel like God's telling you this, you got to do it.
Yeah.
And so I contacted my doctor, and I was like, hey, I want to get this feeding tube taken out. I still have the messages on my phone.
Yeah.
And they didn't want to, and we fought back and forth for a few weeks. And they're like, well, let's just keep trying it. I'm like, no, you don't understand. I need to take it out.
Now.
And I understand from their medical point of view and all that stuff. I'm like, you guys don't understand, like, what is about to... Yeah. Like, you might have this medical degree, but...
Yeah.
So eventually they gave in, and I had to go into the office, and they sat me down, and they're like, look, are you sure you want to do this? And I said, yes. And I said, I will take full responsibility. I'm not going to sue y'all, but I had to sign these papers stating that I know I could die from malnourishment. Here's the risks.
Yeah.
Basically, they can't get in trouble because I'm deciding to take this out.
Yeah. So
I signed it, and they're like, all right. So I go in, have the procedure, and it was like, literally ever since then, slowly my pain just started to go away.
Yeah.
And my chronic pain is gone.
It's gone. Yeah.
And he just healed me.
Yeah.
Of all of it. And what's crazy too is that then I get a phone call and from a family friend, and they're like, hey, do you want to work for me? And I'm like, sure. I never had a job before. Like, I was so scared.
Yeah.
But that was like, I was praying for a job or just something.
Yeah.
I was praying for healing, and I swear I had the best night's sleep I'd ever had in my life. After I got the thing, I could like lay on my stomach. And
like a baby.
I didn't realize how tense I was all the time. Like my shoulders would be like this, and I would just, until after you're not in pain anymore.
Yeah.
And so I haven't dealt with that chronic pain ever since then. And I realized, like, not only did he want to heal my body, like God wants to heal us, but there was things in my life, I think, that were kind of blocking that healing as well. Because if he had just healed me right when I prayed for healing, I still would have probably kept dealing and living a certain way, or dealing with things that I was dealing with, or still having unforgiveness or anger, or all these things that I wasn't ready to admit, or I wasn't like convicted of yet. And so I like to tell people that it wasn't just physical healing, but he completely changed who I was.
He did a whole
ever since then. And so I'm like a completely different person inside and out. And it is just like the biggest miracle, and I just feel like a completely new creation ever since then. So I just love telling people that, and some people, I think Christians don't think that, like, well, healing isn't for today, you know, wherever that comes from. But I'm like, guys, you don't understand.
You don't
like,
get it.
Absolutely. Healing is for today. And there's some people that God doesn't heal. Some people die of things that are even good Christians, and we don't know why that happens. You know, God's not like punishing us. But he does still heal today. And does. So I'm just so happy that the things I prayed for, I'm living in today. And I even like started going back to school. So I'll be done, like I told you, in 2 weeks, finally. And able to get a job and like buy a car. And so it's just interesting thinking back on how my life used to be compared to what it is now. I'm like, that's so crazy. Like, I'm literally living out a life that I never thought
you was gonna have.
I would have. And it sucked what I went through, but part of me is like, I'm glad I went through that. Because character and things of who you are is built through that. And you have to go through something to come out a certain way. And so.
What's up, guys? This is your host, Chris August. Hey, I want to take the time out to stop and say thank you so much for watching this week's episode. You, our viewers, are such a support and help to our community. Also, if you haven't taken the next step and you've just been dating our community, go ahead and commit and hit that subscribe button. I promise you, you don't want to miss any episode this season. We have some huge things planned for you. Also, if you found that anything in this episode has impacted you, go ahead and share it with a friend. That's the way that we grow, and I promise you, your friends also can grow from this community as well. Also, if you're looking for ways to help out our community, we have 3 ways that you can donate this year. 1, our Share a Cup of Love donation. All of our guests get a special gift from the podcast community when they show up on our platform. If you want to get involved in helping out on that and pass the love on, go ahead and donate there. Also, you can check out our merch shop where you can find all of our merch products and our official logo products, as well as you can check out our Amazon wish list that will help this community. Now let's get back into this episode. Talk to you later. I think it's, for the people watching in community who are very similar to me, I've never gotten a chance to hear the whole story, right? It felt like 1 minute you were in a state, and then the next minute radically healed, right? And to an extent, yes, that's exactly what happened. But the things that we got to see, because as she mentioned, Naunie never stopped worshiping during that season. Like, it became your thing to go to, right? And all of us were like, she's so brave. And there's moments that we know, like, you were like flat in pain, but then you were still radically worshiping. And it was just like, what is she doing? I know for me, I don't know. I'm like, I got a headache. I'm trying to go lay down.
Well, that's another thing too, is like, I look back now and I'm like, dude, I should have not like been pushing myself to be up there, because I was like, no, I want to be a part of this. I want to And you should not be at a point where you are like, I literally came straight from the hospital one time.
Jeez.
Belong had asked me to like speak one night, and I was in the hospital, came home, and my mom's curling my hair because I'm so weak and I'm so sick, and went straight to Belong and spoke. And I don't know why I did that, but there was a lot of times where I should have rested more. I didn't know how to do that.
Yeah.
It was more of like, this is the only thing I have kind of going in my life.
Yeah.
And so now if I'm not feeling good, I'm not pushing it.
Not doing it. Yeah.
I'm like, honey, I did that for years.
Yeah.
And a lot of that was just not like, I didn't want to like miss out. I wanted to be a part of this. And people are like, oh, you're so brave. You just keep going. But it's like, dude, no one should have to like force themselves to do that while you're literally, I shouldn't be going in the bathroom, throwing up, and then coming back and like leading worship.
Yeah.
And so I should have rested more than I had.
Yeah.
But yeah, because when I met you, I think I had a feeding tube in my nose. Because in the basement,
not at first. Not at
I
first.
hadn't got it yet.
Not at first. Mm-mm.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, we've known each other for a while.
I don't remember.
You hadn't got it yet,
but...
and then you had the feeding tube, and then you didn't have it again. Yeah. So I think your story is such an incredible story of believing God on His word and what He said, but it also means that we have to seek Him for ourselves, because everything around us can be saying one thing, right? Mm-hmm. Our situation can be actually saying one thing, but then God says, "Nah, dog, this is how I actually feel, and I just want you to trust me." And I find you so, first of all, you are brave, right? Not just brave for going through what you went through and then showing up on stage, but you're brave because you took a chance on God. There's a lot of people that have been like, well, the doctor said I probably should keep, and they would still be struggling. But God was able to work a miracle on your faith and being obedient, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that's absolutely incredible. It's incredible because you're a walking miracle.
Yeah.
You're a walking miracle.
Yeah.
He's giving you new life, new purpose.
Yeah.
And all that, so all of the things that you endured while also leading worship, to me is so wild. And I was going to ask you, how did you find the courage? But so we sat with Destiny in a previous season, and she went through cancer, and she was like, I didn't get up there to be brave. It was just one of those things I did, right?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I was so used to it. I'm like, I'll come, and you just get like so used to the pain that you're like, I might as well like be up here in pain too. And part of this thinking I had was like, I'm going to worship the Lord through the pain, because I was never mad at Him. There was times when I was frustrated. I'm like, God, I'm in so much pain right now. I'm shaking. I'm like, I'm in so much pain. I can't even think.
Yeah.
And why aren't you taking it away? At least just right now. I'm not even asking you to like heal me completely, just for right now. But you just got to a point where you're so used to it. I'm like, I might as well be up here. But I had this idea of like, I thought that it's like God hasn't healed me yet. Yeah. And I feel like that there's a reason. Yeah. And obviously God's not sitting there like, oh gosh, she needs healed. That sucks. What are we going to do about it? There's a reason if we're not healed, whether we know what the reason is or not. Yeah. Again, like some people die of certain things, die in a car wreck, die of sickness, and we don't know why that happens. Yeah. God has His reasons. Yeah. And so I was like, well, I'm not healed for a reason, whether I'm the reason, like I'm blocking that. Yeah. And I kind of just got to a point where I was like, well, this is just where God wants me right now. If He wants to heal me, He will. If not, I have to kind of just accept it. And I got to a point of just accepting it. Mm-hmm. And instead of really pressing in. And that's the thing that I regret, was not pressing in as much as I should have. And I wasn't as spiritually mature as I am now. Yeah. And I wasn't really like challenged that much by people to, you just need to press in more. And people kept telling me, just keep praying, we're praying. And I understood that, but it was like, I'm like, okay, well, I keep praying. It's not that I don't believe that He that he can't heal me. I believe he can, and I believe he will maybe one day, but I just kind of got used to it and just accepted it.
Yeah.
And I just like made it part of my personality.
Yeah.
And, you know, I already use like humor as it is, just my personality. So I just, you know, make jokes here and there and whatever. But I was like, just kind of made it like my identity in a way.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where it gets dangerous.
Yeah.
Because my identity is not some sick girl.
Yeah.
Some tube girl. And, but I got to a point where I was like, that's just who I am. And God wants me to show my faith of trusting him through all of this. And so I told God, I was like, even if I have to be sick forever, but I'm supposed to show my faith through all of it. And maybe someone will see this or hear my story and it helps them to have more faith and whatever the case may be, then it's worth it.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of people that it did speak to that told me, but I do regret not seeking him as much as I should have.
Yeah.
And leaning in.
What does that look like for you now? Like now that God's healed you, what does pressing in look like for you now?
Well, you know, the devil wants us to be stuck in a spot where we don't have faith.
Yeah.
And like having faith is, even if you don't see something, keep praying about it. Don't just give up.
Yeah.
I mean, think about like Job. Devil's like, I'm going to cause hell for you, dude.
Okay.
And God's like, fine. But God always uses it for good.
Yes.
And even if we don't see something happening right now, it doesn't mean that the prayer isn't going to be answered.
Yeah.
And so we have to keep pressing it. And that's the thing, the devil, he wants you to give up. He wants you to lose that faith. And it's not that, he knows that we're not just going to outright be, now some people, but he knows that I'm not going to be like, God's not real. I give up.
Yeah.
No, it's that we stop trusting him. Think about the Israelites when they were in the wilderness, dude. They were like, they saw this like pillar of fire and they knew God existed. Like they didn't stop. I don't think God's not real. You know, I don't think God is fake, but they stopped trusting him.
Jeez.
And that was their unbelief that prevented them from reaching the promised land. And so it's like, I know God's real. I know he's there.
It's the trust thing.
It's like, will you keep following and trusting me even if you don't see it?
Jeez.
And so that's where I look at it right now. But that's just what I've had to learn, and keep pressing in and keep having faith even when you don't see it.
Yeah.
And not just praying, God, I just pray for this. No, speak it.
Yeah.
Jesus never said, okay, now ask Jesus if he can heal. No, he said command them to be healed.
Jesus.
Leg be healed in the name of Jesus.
Jesus.
Not, hey, God, can you just... And that's, like, okay to pray for healing, but I look through it a different perspective now where I'm like, devil, you can't have this. You're not going to take my faith. I'm going to keep pressing it even if I don't see it.
Yeah.
Because he loves it. And we just give up.
Yeah.
And stop trusting the Lord.
Jesus.
So, even if it's hard.
Man, you just said a whole word. Honestly, honestly, I don't feel like there's next questions to ask at this moment. But what I want to do is so in this season we play a game called Good Save, and I want to jump into that with you.
Okay.
Because I feel like you just spoke a whole word. All that's left to do is the benediction, you know.
Like go through something super serious. Okay, now we're gonna.
But if you've been watching season 2, you guys, Good Save is just a game that has been inspired. If you're new to our community watching, because you're supporting Naunie, we love it. Come on. But Good Save is a game in our community that has been inspired based off the idea that worship leaders never remember their lyrics. We always have our confidence monitors just right above that we've gotten so spoiled with. But this game has been built and designed to try to redeem that with worship leaders and just to have fun and worship God
just
and
embarrass
sing a little
ourselves.
bit. So would you sing with me for a little bit?
Yes.
Come on, cool. All right, so rules to the game, just to remind you, I'll sing a verse or a chorus to a song. As soon as I stop, you have 5 seconds from where I stop to pick up at a verse or a chorus in that same song.
Okay.
All right, cool. I'm excited. Let's do it. Blessed assurance, Jesus is mine. He's been my fourth man in the fire, time after time.
Born of his spirit,
Come on.
and I'm washed in his blood. And what he did for me on Calvary was more than enough.
Come on.
I trust in God, my Savior, the one who will never, right?
Yes. Come on.
And I've led this song.
Come
Oh
on,
my
come on.
gosh. Never fail.
Yeah.
He will never fail. Yeah.
Yes, we love it. You got it. But you got it. First of all, trust in God.
Trust in God, guys.
Y'all, trust in God. Stop wearing the song out.
Yo.
No,
We're
it's such a
over
good
it.
song. It's such a
Yeah.
good song, and it's such a testimony, which is why we sing it. So, yeah, keep singing it. If it's still giving glory to your congregation, keep singing it. Don't listen to me. Let's move on to the next song. Yeah. You call me out upon the waters, the great unknown. My feet may fail, and there I find you in the mystery, in the ocean's deep. My faith will stand.
Oh, you got me on a high key. And I will call upon your name and keep my eyes above the waves. When oceans rise, my soul will rest in your embrace. For I am yours and you are mine. Such a classic.
It's such a classic.
Such a classic,
It's so
dude.
good.
And if
I
you don't know
love
how
your
to lead
voice.
that without the words, what are you doing, dude?
You're not worshiping.
Yeah. That's like one song I'm like, yeah, I know all the words to it by now, I think.
Come on.
Yeah.
I might have to have you come back and sing it. Our last song, I'll jump into that. We usually use our last song as an opportunity to worship. If you don't know it, I'm gonna have you jump back in the oceans and just worship for our community. But here, I'll start it. I've come to pour my praise on him like oil from Mary's alabaster box. Don't be angry if I wash his feet with my tears and dry them with my hair.
Did you write that? Just kidding. I don't know that one.
Really?
Is that bad? How long has that been? How long has that been out?
Yeah.
That's so.
Please.
You gotta
It's
cut
my
that.
CC Winans. Oh my God.
No, I think I probably know of it,
Okay.
but like not enough to.
It's all good.
Don't put me to shame.
I
No,
feel
there's
like-
so many like.
So many classics.
Like classics and like gospel songs that I don't know. Like we'll be like in choir rehearsal and everyone starts singing something. I'm like,
I was like, what is this? wait.
yeah, and I just fake it. I act like I do.
I
And
think,
he's like, you know the words, sing it out. And I'm like, I don't though.
I think because of your voice, we forget that you might not be cultured in the
Yeah,
gospel music
no.
that we have. Yeah.
That's when I had a culture shock. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm way too white right now to be doing this.
It's fine. What I want you to do is I want you to, could you sing the chorus of Oceans for us? And just worship, press in. And this is a moment where we just worship with our community.
Yeah. Is the chorus, I will call upon your name. Is that where it starts?
I will call upon your name.
Or is that the pre-chorus?
On the way. Yeah, that's it. It starts on the chorus. Come on.
Sometimes you never know,
Yeah, you know how the gospel songs are written.
And I will call upon your name and keep my eyes above the waves. When oceans rise, my soul will rest in your embrace. For I am yours, and you are mine. Spirit, lead me where my trust is without borders. Let me walk upon the waters, wherever you call me. And take me deeper than my feet could ever wander. And my faith will be made stronger in the presence of my Savior. And I will call upon your name and keep my eyes above the waves. When oceans rise, my soul will rest in your embrace. For I am yours, and you are mine.
That's so good. I think it's so good. And my favorite verse in that whole song is, Spirit, lead me where my trust is without borders.
Yeah. Yeah, you gotta trust him, dude.
That's testimony.
You gotta get out of the boat, walk on the water.
Come on. And Naunie did it, y'all. She sure did. I have one final question for you. And if I need to explain, that's cool. But what is your worship afterism?
What are like other people's answers to that?
Yeah. No, so pretty much what a worship afterism is, what is the thing that you learned while being in worship ministry that you wish you had known before you started, but you had to do it, like you had to be in the ministry first to figure it out? I use this as a life hack for our community and those leaders who are coming up. What is the thing that you've learned that didn't happen till after?
You are not responsible for how people respond to worship. Because I used to take it upon myself where I would sometimes get comments of like, people have their opinions in the church, and you would see people that would just stand like this. They like stare at you, their hands are in their pockets, or they look like they'd rather be anywhere else. And I'm like, you cheer as loud as you can during a football game, but when you're at church worshiping the Creator, we're like, I don't know about that. What time is that Chiefs game? What time are we gonna go to lunch? And not that everyone has to be bouncing off the walls, crying on the floor in order to be worshiping. It's all about your heart. But I used to take it upon myself of like, oh, they're not into worship because of this song, or I'm not singing it this way, or I look a certain way. I'd have people be like, why do you turn to the side when you worship? Why do you do this when you worship? Or they just stare at me. They're so focused on what the worship team's doing. Yeah. Why do you guys do fast songs? Why do you do slower songs? Why don't you do newer songs? Why don't you do older songs? Why don't you blah, 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 blah? I'm like, why are you so focused on us?
Should be joining in.
And I know people literally that would show up late to church because they didn't want to hear the worship. Oh, I don't like the worship songs. And I'm like, well, it's a good thing we're not worshiping you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, is God only worthy of our worship if you are just in the mood for it? Or if it's a song you like? It's like, because we can see the congregation and we're not focused on it, but it's like there's certain songs where all of a sudden everyone has their hands raised. And I understand not knowing like a certain song and kind of like trying to like read it as you go and sing along, but it's like, how come God's only worthy of worship when it's a song that you like? And I kind of used to be in that spot, but now I'm in a spot now where I'm like, it could be, trust in God. It could be a song I've heard a million times, but every time it has a different meaning, or I think about how the Lord's healed me.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm in tears like 2 seconds into it because I've had to take myself out of the equation, and it's not about me anymore.
Yeah.
And it was like when I started going to Belong that we were doing like How He Loves. You know, it's only for 1,000,000 times.
Yeah.
And every hand is raised. Everyone's just crying out to the Lord. No one's paying attention to anybody. Everyone's just worshiping. We can barely hear. You know, it's super loud in there, and you don't really know what's going on. And
it's echoing, bouncing.
Yeah. But everyone's just worshiping as if Jesus is like standing right there in front of them. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's not my fault. It's just the heart posture of people. So I'm not responsible for how people respond to worship. If they're not looking like they are wanting to worship, or they're wanting to be, if they look like they want to be anywhere else, but that's not my responsibility.
Yeah.
And because if I'm just focused on that the whole time, then you lose what you're doing. And I've even heard people say, well, you know, you shouldn't like close your eyes like the whole time. I think you should have them open because people, I'm like, I don't care what people think. Like, I'm not going to be like distracting, but I'm worshiping too.
Yeah.
And so we're all in the room, we're all worshiping together. We're just leading where the song goes.
Yeah.
And so that's the biggest thing that I've learned that really took a lot of pressure off. And I'm like, if you have something to say, or you have a problem with the worship or anything like that, that's on you. And it's not my responsibility to make you feel something.
Yeah. Because you should already be feeling it.
Yeah.
Should be in his presence already.
Yeah. It's all about our heart. And even as worship leaders, like, our heart has to be in the right spot. Because then we can get up there and it's some like about me. It's, you know, you get into that mindset of, oh, do I sound good? How do I look up here and like worried about what people think? But it takes away from all of it. And there's no point even being up there going to do that. It's a bad spot to be in.
True. I love that. That's a great aphorism. I think because as worship leaders in different backgrounds and different genres, sometimes it feels to the worship leader almost like it is our responsibility. And when we say cultivate an atmosphere for them, it's our responsibility to push a response. And cultivating an atmosphere is not the same thing as pushing a response from the people. Our job is to create a space for them to come to Jesus, but they have to walk to him. They have to get to him. There's a responsibility of both of the congregation to participate, and then there's the responsibility for us to create a space for God's presence. But both of us have to be working together.
Yeah. You can't just go to church and get your, like, all right, I'm going to get fed today and go to church, and the pastor's going to speak to me, and the worship team's going to do the worship for me, and then just go live your life how you want during the week. And then, all right, Sunday morning, I'm going to get my fill. And no, dude, you should come to church already
full.
In his presence, and not that you have to be overflowing all the time. I mean, there's seasons where you're just like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to be here. I'm struggling so hard with something, and this is the place to be. Yeah. But you can't rely on everybody else in ministry to do that for you. You have to have that quiet time with him. Yeah. That place with him, that secret place. And worship shouldn't just be on Sundays. That was one thing I had to learn too, is you can worship outside of just on a Sunday morning. Yeah, turn some worship music on.
Come on.
Sit on your bedroom floor.
Come on. Yeah. Well, where can they find you, Naunie?
I mean, I have an Instagram. I'm not on it a ton, but I'm on Instagram.
What's your tag?
I think it's just Naunie, like my name. Yeah, I think it's just Naunie, Naunie. And yeah, that's kind of all I have of where I'm at right now.
Cool. Well, what's next for you?
You know, I don't know. I've been writing a lot of music, and since being in school, it's been really hard to do both because I always have a lot of school stuff to do. But I do have a lot of music written, and I'm hoping to record that
Come on.
and release it at some point, but I got to figure out when that will be. So I got to get out of school first.
Come on.
And then do that. But yeah, I've just been really writing a lot of worship and hoping to share that someday.
I love it. Well, we're looking forward to hearing it for sure. I'm excited about that. I'm excited about you releasing projects and things.
You'll have to be on it.
Come on. Come on, y'all. We would love that. I would love that for sure.
That'd be fun.
All right. Well, I have really enjoyed having you today.
Me too.
I've enjoyed
Thanks
you
for having
sharing
me.
your story.
Absolutely. I love sharing it.
Come
Anytime.
on. So it's been a blessing, and I'm certain it's been a big blessing to our community. So as we wrap up today, I just want to thank you guys for watching this episode with Naunie. What I want you to do is go blow up her page, follow her, show her some more love and support as she's completing school and all the things. But today, this true story of trusting God in what He can do for you for radical healing, radical miracles. I just believe that if you're a worship leader that feels like God has forgotten about you or given up on you, or if the enemy, as Naunie said earlier, has been trying to convince you that God is not going to come through on what He said He's going to come through by either a dream that you feel like is taking way too long, or the things that you've asked God for healing, and you haven't received the radical healing yet that Naunie has, and you're still waiting for God to do it. I want to respond to you guys today and remind you this story bears witness of the power of God and what He can do in your life. Naunie is a walking testimony of what God can do. He is still a miracle worker. He is still working miracles. And I want to remind you to continue to trust Him on what He said. If He said it, it will come to pass. Don't let the enemy to convince you of anything else. And as she said, begin to speak what God has said over your life and continue to speak it until you see what God said come to pass. I love y'all so much. And as I mentioned before, use your worship aphorisms one at a time to help someone else. I love you. I'll see you next time. Peace.